Growing up as a kid, love and relationships was the last thing on our mind. With me, it was all fun, games, and education. But as we got older, there were some things that we need to apply to our hearts in order to keep our significant happy, either by our parents or guardians that told us these things. Such rules like by simply being friends with the person you're trying to seek a relationship with, tell each other everything. And of course, never cheat, be spontaneous, spend time with each other, tell your loved one how much you love them. And last but not least, make the commitment. But we all know most relationships end on a bad note 80% of the time. Either one of the seven rules were broken or probably more. Now, this is a true statement that we all must apply to our hearts, either young, teen, or an adult, when it comes to this subject. God should be the foundation of every relationship, period. But before we get into the scriptures, there is a few things I have to point out as well. Communication is the key to any relationship. A true relationship between a man and a woman must involve a substantial ingredient of communication. Any relationship with communication has a chance. Good communication is probably one of the most important qualities a relationship can have. A couple can talk things out, and whatever way works for them will last a long time. There are too many times that assumptions, misunderstandings, and hurt feelings occur as a result of someone not being able to express how they feel. This can be easily avoided if a couple can just learn how to talk and listen to one another. Don't be afraid of expressing how you feel to your partner. That fear can make a small thing turn into something big, festering over time. Even if you're worried it will upset him or her, it will benefit both of you in the long run to talk it out. Few people can be quoted as saying relationships are easy. Overcoming the challenges of a relationship, especially in regard to communication, tests the strength of a partnership. The key to success is ensuring both partners are taking active steps toward preserving the relationship, which begins with ensuring communication is healthy. There are key factors that should always be included with successful communication. Honesty. If love is the heart of the relationship, trust is the brain. It all begins with honesty. When communicating, all forms of dishonesty should be left out of the conversation. You should make a deal with yourself that only honesty talk should come forth prior to communicating. Honesty shows partnership trust, maintaining the health of your communication and ultimately the relationship as well. Avoiding grudges. When people spend lots of time together, it's inevitable that they're not going to see eye to eye, and eventually someone will do something that will make the other person mad. Although most people in a relationship fall under the title of adults, actions often dictate otherwise. Adults, just like children, often get quiet and hold grudges even against their partners. Grudges leads to resentment, if not solved. If resentment occurs, the health of the relationship will suffer. The solution is communicating about the problem soon after it happens, especially if unresolved feelings exist. Calm discussions. If you go into communication with an angry or bitter demeanor, then the conversation is over before it begins. Although some of the feelings are avoidable, it is important to express these feelings while masking their expression. Meaning, if you're angry, don't speak angrily. Always use a calm speaking as your baseline. If you do not speak in a calm tone, wait for a few minutes or hours until you can, then proceed with an open and positive communication. Speak and listen frequently. Relationships aren't designed to talk open and honesty just now and then. You're in this every day, and it requires commitment and hard work on a consistent basis. If you want a healthy communication, you have to make a decision to talk to your partner each and every day, informing him about what's on your mind. Most importantly, listen to what he or she says. Depressing music. If you are listening to depressing music, it will not only make you feel better, it will make you feel worse. Leave the depressing music alone, even the entertainment such as movies as well, and talk to your partner. eventually you will heal. Sex before marriage. This is a problem. It's a problem because people are doing this out of the spite that they love one another. If you love one another, then you should wait until after marriage. A lot of people make mistakes and get someone pregnant, unless you know they don't want to be there for the child. Please do not do this. Looking for love in the wrong places, such as bars, clubs, strip clubs. These places don't have love, they only have entertainment. If you are looking for love, go to a positive area, not somewhere where it's pure negativity, because you will not get love at all. When one is in a committed relationship, it is important to remember to love the Lord above all else. To say or believe that another person is everything or the most important thing in their life is called adultery, which is a sin. Also, we are not to defile ourselves, our bodies, by having premarital sex. It is wrong. It is important to love and honor others as we love ourselves. And this is certainly true for a courtship or dating relationship. Following these biblical principles is the best way to have a secure foundation for marriage. It is one of the most important decisions we will ever make because when two people marry, they cleave to one another and become one flesh in a relationship which God intended to be permanent and unbreakable. Teens form all kinds of relationships. From friendships to dating, these are the years that teens start building ties outside of the family. While these relationships are an exciting time for teens, they also come with their own issues and hazards. Suddenly, the issues of sex and boundaries starts to arise, and teens find themselves having to choose sides on hot button topics like homosexuality and abortion. There is a lot of growing to do in all aspects of relationships, and having biblical and Christian guidance is essential. Avoiding pitfalls like gossip and lying go a long way in building friendships and relationships that lasts a lifetime. People wonder, is it okay to find someone? Of course it is. It's okay to seek a person. Proverbs says, for a man to find a wife finds a good thing. Paul says it is better to marry than to burn. We are created to be married, really, as God took the rib from the man to make the woman to be partner and helper. Though some may be given the gift to be single. Remember, in looking for a relationship, to look for born again believers who follow Bible teachings. Also, realize marriage is a covenant that both people need to be willing to work on and not just boom, we're married and nothing else. Marriage is about two people becoming one. Yes, things like this happens a lot and happens majority of the time, sometimes every day. But we have to learn how to keep moving forward. Of course, we're going to feel pain, we're going to feel anxiety, we're going to be depressed. But it doesn't mean that all these things are going to last forever, because it doesn't. The step in overcoming the pain of betrayal that happens in a relationship is forgiveness. When we forgive someone, we are actually giving ourselves a gift. Especially when someone intentionally inflicts pain on us, our withholding of forgiveness hurts more than it does to them. To forgive someone is to give them our right to vengeance. We acknowledge that their act was wrong. We might be more careful in trusting them with certain issues, but we do not attempt to get back at them. We do not betray someone who has betrayed us. Instead, like David did, leave it all in God's hands. David included his Psalms this way: cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteousness to be moved, but you, O God, will cast them into the pit of destruction. Men of blood and treachery will not live out their days, but I will trust in you. God will take care of his evildoers, and he will also take care of us. Betrayal is a robbing of security through a breaking of trust. We overcome the heartache and headache it causes by giving our pain to God. We call the betrayal for what it is. Reconsider our personal boundaries and recognize that only God is truly trustworthy. We tell him our pain and allow him to handle those who hurt us. Jesus stressed how important it is that we put him first in our lives when he said, whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Jesus did not say that we are not to love others, but that we must love him more than all others. Many more relationships could be considered, such as children, bosses, and extended family. However, the quality of all these relationships hinge on the influence of our relationship with God. When our relationship with God is our most important relationship, all other relationships will be what they are meant to be. In other words, only when Jesus is our priority can be assured that our other relationships are based on a firm foundation. And finally, find wise counsel with mature Christians who have been married for many years and have walked with God all that time. Seek guidance from your pastor, elders, or other mature Christian leaders. Their lives of experience enables them to speak from wisdom and from the knowledge of God in their lives. In 1 John chapter 4 verse 19 says, "We love because he first loved us." In 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 8 says, "Love never fails." I thank you all for watching and listening, and I present to you Ashley King with an awesome poem about marriage, the title, Sealed with a Kiss. God bless you all.
A promise, a marriage covenant made between a man and his wife, till death do us part, meant to keep your whole life. Have you ever made a promise? It's on its own easy to do when you think that the promise will ultimately satisfy you. When all the tender emotions of romance and ceremonial bliss dance in the sun-drenched air and the sweetly read vows are sealed with a kiss. But when reality sets in, we remember our vows with parentheses, vows that prep for divorce, that quite frankly sound like these. My dearly beloved, I take thee to be my spouse, to have and to hold from this day on, unless, of course, I meet someone else. For better or for worse, and when I say worse, really not so bad, like I'm gonna leave you if you break my heart or make me mad. For richer or for poorer, unless you don't give me the lifestyle I desire, 'cause then I'll take you to court with the best lawyer I can hire. Sickness and in health, I'm hoping on the health one here, for it'd be a huge drain on my life giving you care. To love and to cherish, till death do us part. If I don't fall out of love, I'll leave that up to my heart. So actually, this promise is more of a hope that shifts with the tide of emotions, that allows for a change of dedication and a deviation of devotion. It seems that this kind of promise isn't working so well, because our culture is a mess, as far as I can tell. When over 50% of marriages end in divorce, it seems as though most couples aren't going back to the source. You see, marriage has a maker that clearly states its role and mission. When you don't know the creator, you start messing with the definition. And beyond that, the youth aren't even thinking husband and wife, because a hookup and move on is the day game of life, leaving so many lost in the aftermath of lust and greed, that to feel loved again means that game is their need. Once stood little girls, where dreams of white dresses were definite, but disenchanted by a godless example, instead chose friends with benefits. It's a cultural norm, this idea, that love is uncontrollable, that somehow its unyielding power allows a marriage to be disposable. But the true power of love is it's not envious or boastful. It's not irritable, insistent, impatient, or resentful. The potency it holds is the steadfast trust to believe that love is worth the fight even when it's not what you receive. There is another refreshment that comes from this trust. It's understanding that fundamentally, it's not about us. The only success stories of marriages I have heard are the ones with struggles and failures, but in the end, they keep their word. I know that a marriage with brokenness, hardship, and failure makes room for a savior, redeemer, and healer. This glorious vision of marriage is an example of Christ's unfailing sacrifice. The King of the universe gave up his freedom, his comfort, his life. Let's testify to all humanity that this promise holds God's glory, love to point the broken world to the author of the great love story.
I was lost and alone, you brought me home. I'm not the me I used to be. You set me free, you set me free. My heart's beating to a different story, chasing after all your endless glory, running wildly into all you are. Your love is capturing my heart. I'm in awe, so wonderstruck by what you've done.